This week on the Electronic Eggs podcast.
I'd like to talk to you about a menace threatening humanity. It's happening right here, in our very homes, and corrupting the lives of our loved ones.
Maybe they're friendly.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Electronic Eggs podcast, the 14th most popular podcast that references Phil Collins on a weekly basis. Joining me this week are another Chris Smith.
Hello.
And our Scouse brother, Jake Smith.
Legal name change pending.
So
I can be a Chris Smith too.
This was not planned for
Smiths.
Yeah. We all have different smithing skills though. Mine would be wordsmithing. Chris, what's yours?
Bronze
Smithing. And Jake?
Oh, good question. How long can I come back to this at the end of the show?
Yes, you can come back with your smithing expertise at the end.
Let's go for web crafting, and we'll leave it at
that. This week we are going to talk about the 30th anniversary of the PlayStation, the original PS1 or PSX, due to the fact that on the 29th of September, it will be 30 years since its launch here in Europe, or if you are not wanting to be associated with the rest of Europe, the UK. The PlayStation originally launched in Japan on the 3rd of December 1994, before seeing nearly 9 months difference, over 9 months difference between its Japanese launch and the UK launch. The PlayStation ran until the 23rd of March 2006 when they stopped producing them in Japan, which is insane that it was going for that long. Although I think I read somewhere that the Famicom was discontinued in 2003 or something.
That feels like one of those machines they left on. Forgot about it. Just churning them out. Just a pile of them in a warehouse somewhere.
No one told them they'd stop making them.
Someone's like, didn't realise we've got a massive pile of Famicoms over there. It's like, oh shit, we should turn that machine off. Just left it going. We should probably talk about PlayStation then rather than Famicom. We can do Famicom another time.
I'm washing my hair.
I don't think we get many people listening. The PlayStation then launching on the 29th of September 1995, launched here at the price of £299, which is the equivalent of about £740 in today's money. You think the PS5 Pro is expensive and the Xbox Series X, nothing on the PS1 in today's money. That went on to sell a massive 102.49 million units worldwide, making it the 6th highest selling console of all time, but the 3rd highest selling console of PlayStation console. So the PlayStation was, obviously quite huge, I think. We'd all agree that it did pretty well.
That was particularly mad about the what's the word for bringing the money up to date for the comparison? Because the big thing about the launch against the Saturn was Saturn going, "Oh, we're coming out at $399," and PlayStation going, $299. So, how expensive was the Saturn?
Oh, the Saturn launched here at £399.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, by the same,
so that would be now, I guess, about so you probably add another 100 on, so just over 800 quid.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's steep. That is really steep. But nothing compared to having an Amiga when it first launched at nearly £1,000, and that would have been 1985, wouldn't it? So
Nerds.
1985, that must be around about God, must be close to about 4,000 in today's money for inflation. Oof. But yes, the PlayStation was, as everyone knows, was a response to their divorce, shall we say, from Nintendo. When in CES 1991, Sony came out the day before Nintendo had their conference and announced that they were working in partnership with Nintendo to create a disc-based system that would also play Super Famicom, Super Nintendo carts, and it was called the Play Space Station. Not like Space Station, but a gap in between, because Play Space Station would be a stupid name. And then the following day, Nintendo came out and said, no, that's not actually happening. We're partnering with Philips instead. Your big rivals in the CD player market. So that then spurred on Sony, who were quite rightly a bit miffed and pissed off with Nintendo, to go ahead and do it themselves with no prior experience of making a game console whatsoever. And the rest is history. They ended up absolutely dominating Nintendo for many, many years. So I like to call that karma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Nintendo were in that position at the time with the strength and stranglehold that they had, that they just could not see anyone challenging them.
No, and obviously PlayStation came around and said, you don't have to make these big expensive cartridges anymore. Plus, we're not going to take as much of a cut from the revenue as Nintendo would either. So everything became a lot fairer. It wasn't Sony responsible for pressing the CDs either, was it? That you could get you could press your own CDs, so you could do your own orders. Whereas Nintendo you had to fulfill a shipment amount that they required you to do. So if you had too many Nintendo cartridges and you didn't sell, you could go out of business. Or if you had too few, your game may not reach as many people as it was as you thought it would originally. So it was tough for them. They lost a lot of money, and they were obviously very keen to move away from Nintendo and find a new partner. And that's where PlayStation came in. They're very, very heavily a third-party first machine. They had their own first-party studios at this point. They'd already bought Psygnosis back in 1993. And they managed to just completely dominate for those first 5 years of the PlayStation's life.
It is funny how you get this sort of cycle of console maker hubris of Nintendo being upstaged by PlayStation and then seeing it happen again to the PS3 with the Xbox 360 and then back in Sony's favor for the next
with the
generation.
Xbox One.
Yeah, it is fascinating. And then Nintendo just quietly minding their own business and just drop the Wii on everyone. Oh.
Yeah, or even like everyone assuming Nintendo would be the first to go third party after the absolute abysmal failure of the Wii U.
Yep.
And yet here we are with Everybody's Golf launching on Nintendo Switch last week.
Yeah, I haven't picked it up yet, but I'm excited about it. See, we are still talking Sony. Woo.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, and Helldivers on Xbox, and then you've got all the Xbox games now on PlayStation, and it's Nintendo are just there going, yeah, we're not putting our games.
Dogs and cats living together.
Yeah. It is a crazy time we live in. But yeah, so the PlayStation. Jake, tell me, how did you first get involved in the world of the PlayStation?
Well, get your cup of cocoa, sit down, we'll have a little story. I was at the time studying graphic design in Blackburn. I'm from Liverpool originally, and I had a friend whose uncle worked in the logistics department of Psygnosis. So before I'd started studying graphic design, I'd been into the studios at Psygnosis when they were on the docks in Liverpool, and I'd seen them making Crazy Ivan and talk to the musicians and the 3D modeling artists and everything. It was really cool, dead exciting. As a kid who's into video games, it was great. And when Psygnosis got bought by Sony and they moved everyone from Psygnosis into the main headquarters building in Liverpool, in Wavertree Tech Park, my friend, knowing that I was going to do graphic design, said, "Do you want to come and talk to the studio for the the graphic designers there who do all the artwork?" I said, "Yeah, I'd love to. Let's go." So he got me in, took me. I spent like a morning, couple of hours talking to them, seeing how they work, the programs they use. Really exciting. This is what I wanted to do for a career. So I was paying attention, asking questions, and of course it was to do with um, the buzz around the PlayStation coming out. So this must have been, let's say, June, July, before the release in September. And they took us down to the QA department room as well. So I went in there, saw all the machines, all the blue console machines, with video cassette recorders and TVs all set up to record the games as they were playing them, to do bug reports through QA. And sat down, and I had to go on Wipeout, put the headphones on, goosebumps up my arms. This is the future. This is incredible. So I stuck around in there for longer than I really should have, probably about 2 or 3 hours in the QA room after I'd seen the graphic designers. And one of the guys had said, "Look, do you want to do part-time work? Do you want a job testing QA for Sony PlayStation?" Nearly bit his hand off right there and then. It literally, figuratively, couldn't say yes quick enough. And so when I went to college for that was it my second year at college at Blackburn, I started doing QA every weekend, like doing maybe sometimes 12-hour, 16-hour days, whatever, doing QA. And any breaks I got for Easter breaks and stuff, I would go back to Sony and playtest there as well. So my first introduction to the machine was, surrounded with like, oh, this is the coolest moment ever. And I got to see Wipeout in full flow, knowing it was before most of the country had. So it was super, super exciting. And I was like, yeah, I've got to have one of these right away.
And did you get one right away?
I did, pretty much right away, because Sony gave all their employees PlayStations, and my friend's uncle didn't really play games. He was in logistics, and so he was like, yeah, I'll sell it to you. Probably shouldn't have, but that's how I got mine.
That's they still did that in the early 2000s because I got a PSP when I was working at
Mm.
Sony, when that
Mhm.
launched. I already had one from America at that point, so it was just pure profit really,
Yeah.
because I sold the American one and kept the PAL one, as it was given to me as a work thing. But yeah, when you mentioned the blue PlayStations, so the blue PlayStations, for those listeners who don't know, they were the dev kit ones that they had, and they were so awesome to look at. I remember
Mm.
seeing them in pictures when I was a teenager and seeing them in the magazines and just thinking, oh my god, I really want one of those. And I managed to finally get to touch one in 2005 when I started at PlayStation. And
How
yeah,
cool.
I saw one just sitting there in the office, not being used, and I was like, "Oh, can I have it?" They said, "No, no, you can't, but you can take it home if you want." So I did. Took it home for the weekend and brought it back on the Monday. That was pretty cool. Yeah, it was awesome. Just being able to stick in some of my American games and stuff like that, and it just worked. It
Yeah,
was so cool.
yeah, they were
Absolutely loved
very
it.
cool machines. Mm.
Yeah, and they had better video out as well than the retail models because you could hook that up to VGA. It was brilliant.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah, it was cool.
In the QA department, they all had, it was out to a VHS recorder and then to a Sony TV. So everything you did, you hit record on the tape and played. So when there was a bug, you'd say, okay, on this tape, it's at 32 minutes in. I did this, something happened, and the game went crazy. And we did a lot of testing on Sony's first party game. That was at Total NBA '96, I think it was.
Yeah,
And oh my word, we found copious amounts of bugs throughout playing that. And I didn't really give much of a hoot about basketball at the time, but after playing this every weekend and evenings and long weeks through QA, I knew everything about basketball. I could name all the stats about a player, where you
I
could
thought you were
shoot
going to
from.
say you cared even less.
Yeah. Well, once I'd stopped playing it, I was like, yeah, I'm never touching that again, because you've played it for so long. If you rinsed it, I'm done now.
cool. Chris, what about you? Your first time with a PlayStation?
Yeah, it's interesting for me because I was such a Sega lad that I went Master System, Mega Drive, Saturn quite happily. But when so I've got older sisters and one of my sister's boyfriends. Now that's not like my sister had loads of boyfriends. One of my several sisters had a
Had
boyfriend.
a singular boyfriend. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and he lent a PlayStation to us. From my memory, it's like, oh, it was soon after launch. But then I was thinking about it because he already had Ridge Racer Revolution, and Wipeout.
Mm.
I think Ridge Racer and Wipeout were possibly launch titles. I don't remember.
They were,
But
yeah. Ridge Racer was
Revolution,
famously 01. Yeah.
but Revolution must have been later, right? So
Yeah, that was 96.
yeah, so I reckon it was probably just after that came out. But then I was thinking back to it, it was also the same boyfriend that originally lent me his Commodore 16, and years later it was his Mega Drive we borrowed. So I can only assume right now he's somewhere else lending
He was
somebody a
grooming
Switch
you.
2. Something like that. Or he just like, I think he liked buying games consoles more than he liked playing games.
That
But
sounds familiar.
yeah,
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of
that's how
people.
it's. Yeah, I was going to say that's how it starts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and the thing I couldn't remember was whether I'd borrowed that before I got the Saturn, and I stuck with the Saturn for a while. But I'd been playing stuff. I was, the Ridge Racer and Wipeout particularly I was enjoying. But what happened was I'd had my Saturn probably for a year, and then me and my mate used to go to the cinema every week, and then we would play Tekken in the arcade bit there every single week. And what happened is I just needed to play Tekken at home, and made one of the great mistakes of my life, which was trading my Saturn for a PlayStation. But it wasn't that long after. I think I ended up getting a new Saturn and having both of them at once. But there was good stuff there, but ultimately it was just Tekken was everything for like 2 years for me, I think, and then
Yeah.
I went back to Virtua Fighter. But it was broadly the story of how I get to everything is somebody else lending me the console, I think.
Cool. So my first experience with PlayStation came in probably September 95. I didn't get one. I went to a nightclub for under 18s in Cambridge. That was on the Friday night. We used to have I can't remember what it was called, but there was that was at the Junction in Cambridge, but I can't remember the name of the night. It doesn't matter. But you'd have an under 16 night, which finished at 10, and then 10 o'clock they'd let the adults in. And yeah, upstairs they had a load of PlayStation pods set up with like really good Sony headphones on, and I saw Wipeout, and I was like, oh my god, that looks so good. I'm gonna have to go and have a try of that. And then I put the headphones on, and as soon as I put the headphones on and I heard the intro and things, I have to have a PlayStation. I'm sorry, Sega Saturn sitting at home, but this is so much cooler. And yeah, so I didn't buy the PlayStation then. I bought the Wipeout on Saturn because I didn't know it's coming to Saturn at the time. And then
I think
played it
it's
on the
good enough
Saturn.
without the apart from the transparency, right?
Yeah, and it has an even worse hitbox than the PlayStation version, which is still pretty bad. But yeah, so I played it for the first time there, and just absolutely fell in love with Wipeout more than the PlayStation, I'd say, as I didn't really like the controller that much. But yeah, so that was me until I guess it would have been towards the end of '96 when I just realised that there were virtually no games coming out on the Saturn, and everything was coming out on PlayStation. Like you're just seeing so many games, and games from series that I loved back on Super Nintendo and Mega Drive. Like the Mega Man series and things like that were all coming out on PlayStation. Street Fighter, I know that was on Saturn and was better on Saturn, but you just saw everything was going to PlayStation. So I was like, oh,
Well, that's
think
other thing as well.
I was
Sorry, I
just
was
going to
just
say,
going
I
to
think I
say,
backed the wrong horse. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, because with hindsight, I still play my Saturn, right? But there are still
Yeah.
PlayStation games I play. But it was that thing of I knew 2 other people with Saturns, and everybody had a PlayStation. And it was that thing of them where they went to nightclubs and everything else that they dominated with the marketing, and it was cool to have one rather than just something you had at home and didn't talk about.
Yeah, I mean that was the thing because I was obviously a sixth form student back then, and I would work weekends, and on the weekends, even my bosses at like retail shops and stuff, they would be talking about PlayStation. These guys who were in their 20s and things, they were loving PlayStation. I never heard people talk about video games outside of school. It was one of those things where you never heard adults talking about games. It was just whoever you were talking to in school. And even then, it wasn't that widespread. But then, as soon as I left school and I started speaking to more and more people, and everyone was just talking about PlayStation, and I was sitting there like, "Oh shit, I've only got a Saturn. Everyone keeps talking about this bloody PlayStation."
And you're ostracized from society.
Yeah, I was like, with this shit version of Daytona at home, and they're talking about bloody Ridge Racer, which is amazing. um, so yeah, that was one of the big things, really, wasn't it? It was just, I think, what really sold PlayStation, because the weird thing about PlayStation was it felt different to the other consoles in terms of it felt more like it was aimed at us, and when I say us, I mean people in the UK, because of how well Sony Computer Entertainment Europe handled the games that came out over here. You know, they knew that we're doing, their marketing was on point. It felt very, very British in what
They
it was doing.
absolutely nailed it culturally. You know,
Yeah.
the crossover, the sound, the music, the putting on the events, and that they couldn't put a foot wrong. It felt, you know,
Yeah.
everywhere you looked, there was something to do with PlayStation. They sponsored like rides at the event parks and stuff like that. That
Oh yeah, yeah,
they
of
were
course.
there all the
Yeah.
time.
They were sponsoring, you know, the Champions League as well. So we're watching, you know, we're there watching football, and there's PlayStation in the background, and it was things like, oh god, what was it? It was like not just the music and things, but it was also the fact that there were like these British studios like front and center as well. You know, like your Codemasters, your Psygnosis and stuff, all pumping out these great games one after the other. You know, and it was just, yeah, it just felt like it was for us. You know, we had all these things that we didn't have before. You know, like the Toka touring car games, the Colin McRae rally games. So I know we had rally games previously, and obviously Sega Rally is like the king.
Yeah.
But Colin McRae Rally was just so. It was just such a great example of doing a simulation.
Yeah, it was probably the first simulation racer I cared about.
Yeah. I think Tucker Touring Cars was my first, and then Colin McRae afterwards because of Tucker Touring Cars. Because obviously I'd associate Codemasters more as just the people who gave me micro machines previously,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And
Quite right
this
too.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
And then this time, you know, they were giving me Tucker Touring Car Championship, and then Colin McRae, and it's just like, oh my god, these games are just so much deeper than anything I've played before. And yeah, I fell in love with those sim racers back then, and yeah, I've never been able to get away from playing sim racers. I play them as much as I can. They're getting worse, but you know, they're still there. Although we don't have Codemasters anymore, which is so depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
On the
depressing,
racist
especially.
point, did you see Martin, Nakamura Martin, our friend Martin, posted a video about why races are in decline at the moment?
I haven't seen that. No.
Just on the point about races, how they're getting a bit shittier and stuff. It's a really good video talking about how they're just good enough, and that's all people will play. So there's no now differentiation. There's no need to push. Gran Turismo's wiped everything out. So yeah, sorry, absolute side moment there, but it's a great video to watch. As
Yeah,
well
Yeah,
as
I think
I'll
there's
definitely check it out.
a very niche what sort of sim PC races, isn't there, that are like very severe.
Yeah,
If you can be
they're
bothered to
too
invest fully.
hardcore for me.
Yeah.
I've tried Assetto Corsa. What is it?
Yeah.
Assetto Corsa. Yeah, I've tried that, and I was like, oh, this is actually too much for me. This is good. Like I like there's like the sweet spot of a sim racer for me has to be a little bit of forgiveness
Yeah.
for the fact that I'm not actually driving a car, and I'm actually sitting in front of my television. So I need that little bit of give when I'm playing a sim racer. So I really liked the first two Project Cars games from the previous generation. Like they had that perfect sweet spot of sim, but you don't have to, you know, actually drive this car properly to play this and enjoy it.
I suspect I'm part of the problem because I was into the Forza Motorsports for the first 3 or 4 of those, and then discovered Horizon, and I now find that those are my favorite racing games. I just wait for the new one and then just rinse it until the next one comes and don't touch anything else.
Well, do you want to know
Martin's liberty.
something even more depressing? Is there are only two racing games coming from Japan that are that at the moment, and that's it. Well, there's the new Tokyo Highway Battle, but
Yep.
That's the first one in many, many years. But in terms of the actual franchise, is still ongoing from Japan in the arcade racing space. Well, not arcade, but in racing space are Gran Turismo and Mario Kart. That is it.
I was lamenting the loss of Ridge Racer and like thinking back to the PS Vita version, how utter dog shit that release was.
Yeah.
And there used to be the excitement of here comes a new Sony console. Where's Ridge Racer? That kind of buzz
Yeah.
that went with it, but it's just no longer a thing, is it?
No. These racing games have all fallen away. We just have. Well, we don't even have Forza Motorsport anymore, do we? Because the last one was the death of Turn 10.
Yeah.
So we just have Horizon now, and
Mhm.
it's like I kind of preferred the Motorsport series, but okay.
They got a bit stale, but
I really enjoy it. Was it 7, the one on Xbox One, like the
Yeah.
last one on Xbox One? I
Yeah.
thought that was really, really, really good. Like because they ditched nearly all of the Top Gear bullshit that they put into it.
Yes, that was awful. I
Yeah,
think, I put about 60 hours, I think, into 7. It was good.
yeah. I put a good number of hours into 7 as well. I absolutely loved that one. Yeah, depressingly, you can't buy that anymore on the digital store, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Was
It
that
is a shame.
released on the PlayStation?
No.
No, but
Right, shut
any
your
day
head up.
now.
Let's get back on target.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, back to PlayStation then. So if we since we started talking about games, let's go on to the games. But first of all, I want to talk about the fact that there were 962 million games shipped on PlayStation worldwide.
So
So
where do
just
we
under a
start?
billion.
Yeah.
And the top selling game on PlayStation, have a guess what the top one was worldwide? It was
I
Gran
was
Turismo, which
Yeah,
sold
surprised me.
10.85 million copies. Final Fantasy VII was a second.
I
Final
was going to
Fantasy VIII
guess that, but then I
third.
thought, really, that many people buying? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Gran Turismo 2 was fourth, and fifth was Tekken 3. I will give you each £1 if you can name the number 6th game without looking it up.
Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, so close.
Crash Bandicoot 2.
No, it was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, but Crash Bandicoot was 7. Warped,
Okay.
the third one. But yes, the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone sold a staggering 8 million, and it came out in 2001.
That's crazy.
Isn't it?
Surely
Like
everybody
PS2
was
was
fully
out then.
piracy then.
Yeah.
Everyone was
But
buying
yes,
anything.
the PlayStation's games are sold absolutely phenomenally, especially considering where games were prior to that generation of consoles. They were still very, very niche, and you're talking about the install base of the two consoles, like the Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo, didn't even reach 100 million between them. So yeah. So which of the games? Obviously, you've said Wipeout. Jake is the one that really sold it on for you. That's what sold
Yeah.
it for me as well. Chris, what was it? Tekken then for you?
Yeah, Tekken was why I had to own one.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, like I say, Wipeout for me, and then seeing and then playing Ridge Racer as well. That was the final push I needed. Just because I was like, oh, this looks so much better than Daytona, even though I prefer Daytona in the arcade to Ridge Racer in the arcade. But
I
yeah,
think it's just Sega Rally is the king. So
it is great on Saturn.
Yeah.
What really dialed Wipeout in for me was when we were doing this graphic design course. Our first year was there was a bunch of different sections within the course that we did, but none of it was really enough graphic designy. We'd done other stuff like printmaking and this, that, and the other. And so this course wasn't brilliant, and we were a bit like we were moaning about it. And the lady who was doing the kind of design history classes was talking about Etoile Sot Sass and Philip Stark and this metal kettle that you couldn't pick up when it was hot, and we're like fucking not interested. And I think she kind of picked up on the vibe. So when we came back after the summer holidays, the second year, which was when the PlayStation had been launched, she was talking about Peter Saville, the Designers Republic, Ian Swift, and all these designers that were contemporary and doing, like David Carson, who'd done the cover for Nine Inch Nails, the Fragile album and stuff. And it was almost like she'd gone, "Okay, boys, what do you want to talk about?" to me and my 5 friends, and she'd almost picked everything out that we could have put forwards. So she had us completely locked in for this course. But the fact that she was discussing the likes of the Designers Republic and the cultural swell at the time for this sort of electronic, but also what's the word I'm looking for here? Distressed type of design, and you could see it across so many games that came out through the PlayStation as well. Very much a feeling of the late 90s, early 2000s visually, and so
Oh
that
yeah, definitely.
pushed my buttons.
Yeah.
Stylistically, Wipeout is something else. It was so iconic. I mean,
Mm.
I loved it, but I didn't really get into it till 2097 when it became a bit more forgiving, because I did find the original game too hard. Particularly, unlike you two, I was still relatively young then.
Yeah, our old
It
hands.
was unforgiving. It was, yeah. The
It was.
hitbox area was like clunk, clunk, clunk. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was difficult
You're
to
like,
get
right,
through.
I'll try and take this corner nice and wide. Oh, I've hit it. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
I'm
was
in the middle of
learning
playing.
about,
Oh, I've hit it. Yeah.
because that was the thing though. Once you played it enough and you learnt where the hitboxes were, you could fly through that game. But
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
that it was learning the course to know you cannot go near that corner. You have to take it
Have you
really
gone back and
wide.
played it again recently?
I've been playing Rewrite on Vita, so
No,
they
the first ones just don't.
no,
It's
I
so
don't.
brilliant.
But no, they because the guy rewrote the hitboxes and everything for Wipeout Rewrite, and
Okay.
yeah, it so you can actually play it now, and it's such a great game, the original one. Now
Oh
that you
wow!
don't get stuck on things, but yeah, I played that on Vita. I think you can get it. I think you can download it on PC as well. But it's really cool being able to play that because it was when it was it 2020 when the source code got leaked for the original
Oh
Wipeout.
yeah, yeah. You play
Yeah,
it in the
and
browser,
then
can you?
yeah, and
Mm,
then that was the guy who put it in the browser. And
Okay.
then when he did that, he then was just like, you know what, I'm just going to rewrite this whole game so that it's perfect.
yes.
And he did, and it is. It's absolutely brilliant. And he's also, I don't know what he's done to the sound, but the sound sounds even better.
Right.
So it may just be that he's using the raw source code. So he's actually just been able to put that out, and the file size is much bigger than the original
Oh,
Wipeout. The
cool.
original Wipeout's
Yeah.
like 75 meg, and this one's pushing
Yeah, it could well just be
750.
no
No
compression.
compression. Yeah, yeah. But it is fantastic. I would recommend anyone go try and find Wipeout Rewrite. It is fantastic. You have to go to the high seas to find it.
Or go to GitHub because there's a repository on GitHub for it all for those
Yes.
technical
Yeah.
enough.
So yeah, speaking of the games and what's we know that the original Wipeout does not hold up well today. What games do you think, Chris, in your mind, still hold up really well on PlayStation?
Cooler World.
Oh my God, what a game!
I know, because that's the one that I load up my Vita to play.
Yeah.
Also Symphony of the Night, though, right? Because I'm still playing
Oh yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's essentially the same.
I have a yearly run through on that on Vita, like every year.
I just picked up the bundle thing on the PS5, and
Oh yeah,
because it's got the
this version's
PSP
better.
port, yeah,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. But I would quite happily play it on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I think when you pointed that one out, I was thinking some of these games that are more 2D based, with say a 3D background or something, hold up better because they don't show the wobbly polygons and everything from
Yeah, that's what I
the
was going to say.
PlayStation.
Is that ironically, it's the 2D games that or the ones like Suikoden and Suikoden 2, which hold up so much better than
Well, that's why I
than the
think the
polygonal games.
Saturn is better now. Like, it shows off more because of that 2D library of shooters and fighters that
Oh
still
yeah,
look as good now. But then,
yeah.
the
I
only other game I did put down is, I think Rage Racer still holds up really well.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I think it holds up
quite
better than
dark and
R4.
moody.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I love R4. R4 is one of my favorite games, but Rage Racer holds up so much better today.
yeah.
It's
I
absolutely. I was playing that earlier on the PS3, and I was, oh my God, it's still so good, and the soundtrack's still amazing.
yeah. It's like a grittier older brother to the other games, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is. But it's got these beautiful incline. Like the tracks go up.
Yeah, the
And then you
verticality
come.
bit,
Yeah,
so cool.
Sweeping.
it
Yeah,
is so cool, and you don't even have that in R4. The tracks are quite flat. There's a couple of courses where you go up into the mountains and things like that, but not like the verticality of Rage Racer though, which
No.
is yeah. But Rage Racer has that, like, well, not Rave Racer has those in the arcade as well. So I'm pretty sure they did do a lot of the tweaking of Rave Racer into Rage Racer. Because there's a lot of that sort of verticality from what I remember of Rave Racer. I only played that once in the arcade. I only saw
Yeah,
it one place.
I've definitely played it, but can't think much about it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
From memory,
Yeah.
Rave Racer feels more like the Ridge Racer side of things rather than Rage Racer is grittier, darker. It feels like it's set in some like European towns and things from memory.
Yeah, it looks like Rage Racer looks like it's going through like Athens into like somewhere in Rome and then off into Amsterdam and stuff. It's
and like Germany and some of the mountains and sweeping highways and
Switzerland and stuff. Yeah, it's got some amazing stages. I do love that one. I had that down as a game that I felt held up. That Cooler World, Cynthia Knight and the Suikoden's, and Resident Evil 2. Because I still think that is still quite a good game to play. Not 3 because of the Nemesis. That still just pisses me off.
Yeah, I remember that.
But because it's playing with polygons on a 2D plane, it holds up, whereas if you're playing something like Metal Gear Solid, it's kind of hard to play that now, especially if you've played Twin Snakes with the first person shooting view and stuff like that. It makes it kind
the
of
atmosphere and things from Metal Gear still stands up. The way that they set the scene, they set the tone, that aspect of it is still incredible.
And that initial
technical execution does feel terrible.
So good. Yeah,
not terrible. Wrong word. Technical execution feels dated, not terrible.
Yeah. So we just mentioned Metal Gear Solid. I would say that is, and Resident Evil. We're speaking about those. These are series that are still running today as well.
Yeah.
We've
I was
also
just gonna say one other that holds up quite well is one of those games that's kind of lost to time was Return Fire. Which
oh my god!
I originally played on the 3DO, but is an absolutely superb game if you can find somebody to play it with, because it's dull as dishwater playing on your own against the AI. But
oh my god! I
the
completely
two-player
forgot about
mode of that, which was like a Desert Strike meets Capture the Flag against your mate, absolutely incredible, and it still holds up. But yeah, it's very difficult to find somebody that will play it with you. You need to find a way to play online.
I've got one last one I'm going to chuck in for the still holds up before we move on it. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't the reception I wanted there.
Well, it just made me think about the new things of like when I was thinking what holds up, it's like what hasn't, like I wouldn't choose to play that now because the remakes are so good, but because the remakes do that thing where you look at them and it's how your brain remembers them looking, and it plays the same, and then if you do go back, is oh no, this is what it looked like.
Yeah,
like when you press the toggle button on the Master Chief Collection.
I get you, but I have still put that on and played, and the music is also a big sort of initiator for me. You hear that music and you roll into some of the levels, and that you are transported back straight away.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Woodstock. Nothing really sticks in my mind. Punk. I forget, to be honest. The 80s. Well, he could have slept through the 80s and not missed a thing.
The 90s. Since 1995, I can remember everything, right down to the smallest detail.
So we've touched on a few of these then. So these are the PlayStation did actually create. Well, there are games created on PlayStation that started on PlayStation, and those series are still running. 30 years later, which is incredible to think about. So I've got the. You can tell me anything that I've missed as well. So we've got Resident Evil, Gran Turismo, Everybody's Golf because one literally came out. Persona, Tomb Raider. Because there is a Tomb Raider game in development, they say.
Wasn't Tomb Raider that started on the PlayStation, or wasn't that on the Saturn first?
It was being developed for both. Right?
Okay.
So it had a 3-week Saturn exclusive window.
Yeah.
So
sort of vague, but yeah. You can have it. Carry on.
3 weeks. Yeah. Twisted Metal is still around, but as a TV show. Not a game. Crash Bandicoot had Crash Bandicoot 4 4 years ago.
Yep.
So I'm counting that as a current one. Oddworld only had a new entry a couple of years ago as
I
well.
wrote Oddworld on my list. Yeah.
Cool. Tony Hawk is still around,
Yeah.
but albeit as a compilation.
I mean,
Yeah.
it did get Tony Hawk's 5. We just don't talk about it.
Yeah, we don't talk about 5. Yeah. Silent Hill is still going, and a new entry is due to come out soon. And GTA.
Yeah,
I don't know if you mentioned Tekken then.
I forgot
Tekken 8 is current.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Tekken is still going. Yeah.
And it's.
And
I was trying to remember.
I'm going to technically say Metal Gear Solid because
Oh, yeah.
Metal Gear may have started on the MSX, but
Yeah,
Metal Gear Solid series started on PlayStation.
that's true.
So
you've also
technically
got
it
the
counts.
likes of Rayman.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
All you
Oh,
know,
That
did
was a
that start
lovely
on the
rendered
Jaguar?
side-on. Yeah. Yeah. It was first released for the PlayStation on 1st September
Yeah.
1995. Shortly
But
followed by versions for the Jag and the Saturn. So
yeah, it was
God.
developed first for the Jaguar.
but no
Was
one
it?
would have played it on the Jaguar.
Just
Yeah.
me and Tommy. Just me and Tommy.
Yes, you and Tommy. Yeah.
Do
But
you know
yeah,
what? Not according to the
Rayman, I
wiki.
completely forgot.
Rayman was out on the PlayStation first before the Jaguar on
No,
the
it
wiki.
was out on it first, but I think it was being developed first for the Jaguar, and they went back and finished it. Something like that. It was being developed as a
Okay,
Jaguar
I
game,
gotcha.
I'm sure.
But yeah, and they are talking about the 30th anniversary, aren't they, at the moment, of Rayman? So we will probably see something more from that series soon.
Yeah, I think
If
Rayman
Ubisoft
Alive is
can,
what the name of the one they're touting at the moment.
yeah, I really like the original Rayman. I didn't like the 3D ones.
No, the same. I only
No.
liked the first one, and then the new recent, like Origins and Legacy.
And Legends, yeah. Yeah, I did not like
Legends,
the 2D one, the 3D ones at all, like Rayman 2 and Rayman 3. Just, yeah. Yeah, I didn't like them. I think it was because, Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie were out at that point, and they were just so much better 3D platformers.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas there wasn't a lot of 2D platformers being made when Rayman came out. It was, and it had that new style of like this cartoony pixel art that you hadn't seen before as well. It was like, oh my god, this is beautiful.
Yeah,
I was
fluid
used to looking at
animation and stuff
yeah.
that goes with it.
It's like I was used to looking at Zool and things. Now I'm looking at this. It's brilliant.
Or Jazz Jackrabbit, Chris, is that one of
Oh,
your favorites?
Yes! Jazz Jackrabbit game! I've got to go, guys. I've got to go play Jazz Jackrabbit.
But yeah, I mean the legacy of that is incredible that these franchises are still vibrant today. Especially when you consider how big Resident Evil has become, and it also got its relevancy back as well in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good to see. But yes, so then if we go now into what we think, if we start talking about our favorite games, I want to talk really, if we have any duplication, we can jump in and talk about that game at the same time as the other person. So we start with Chris last. We'll start with Jake. Jake, do you want to go with some of the games that you feel are the best on PlayStation?
I wouldn't. It's difficult to say best because my
Or
tastes will be
favorites?
different.
Yeah.
My
Mhm.
favorites, that's easier. Mr.
Yeah.
Driller G. I absolutely love the Mr. Driller series, so I will
Yeah.
happily play Mr. Driller G on, Vita, whatever emulators. I've got the disc. Obviously, you don't put discs in a PlayStation anymore, do you? It's the last kind of thing you actually play it on.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the Hori shmups as well, like Thunder Force 5 and the G Darius
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
Yeah.
Much more of I was always more of a Hori shmup person than a Tate vertical shmup player. So the
As you
fact that
should
this
be. Yeah.
PlayStation has quite a
Real
few,
gamers
that
don't
does keep my
discriminate, thank you.
no, exactly.
Team Raiden
I
over
always
here.
felt like I was in a minority once all the bullet hell stuff kicked off. I'm like, well, I just like the ones that go
Yeah.
sideways.
I will play both Hori or Tate, as it were, over any bullet hell.
Yeah.
I don't care. I just
I'll
want to play
agree
bullet
with that
hell.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they're the ones I'll go back to. They're my favourites. Although, as I mentioned, Tony Hawk Pro Skater before, I spent so long on that back in the day. Loved it. And that's my love for skateboarding obviously preceded that. So to see it all realised properly was great. It felt like someone had got this nailed on.
Yeah.
And I also don't play JRPGs very much, so I will pass that over to one of you two because I'm sure you're going to wax lyrical about that now.
I discovered
Uh,
JRPGs much later. I think my first one was on the 360. So, I did.
yeah,
No, actually, I'll go back. I did try getting into Final Fantasy VII when it came out. I borrowed it off a friend. I
Yeah.
had a third-party memory card that wiped after 20 hours, and then swore off them.
So, Chris, do you
Yeah.
want to go through some of yours?
Yeah. So the big one for me was Time Crisis.
I've got that on my
Oh,
list.
killer.
I'm a
Yeah.
big light gun guy. For that was what was my favorite stuff in the arcade. I was on my Saturn. I was playing a lot of Virtua Cop 2, and
House of the Dead. Yeah.
yeah, making the most of mighty hits because I didn't have Point Blank when I had a Saturn and not a PlayStation. But the gun con was, or the G-Con 45, depending on what region you're in, was such a revelation for the accuracy. And it was one of the great thing of playing Time Crisis a lot in the arcade, getting that what felt arcade perfect version at home set up.
Yeah.
I remember when it was coming out, it was one of those things that I got my mum to buy the day it came out, and then I had to wait till Christmas to get it. But then I played nothing but that at home every day for like the next 6 months until I could then go to the arcade, one credit it, and that's the only thing I think I've ever one credited in the arcade. And now I tend to die halfway through Act 3, but
Yeah.
old.
Yeah. I mean, I
I
played that
completely forgot
so
about
much.
this until you said it.
Yeah.
It's brought back a flood of memories of coming back from the pub and people come around and like, let's play this. It was
Yep.
so much fun.
Yeah, that
But
was
then
the same.
the point blank conversions are superb as well.
They are.
And yeah, so I played then quite a lot of light gun shooter stuff on that. And to be fair, I bought the Sinden light guns, and at the moment I'm in the middle of moving, so the long-term goal is to build them into an arcade cab.
Oh,
But
nice.
at the moment they're set up with a Raspberry Pi 4 with a build that plays mostly PlayStation stuff, but also some of the laser things like Mad Dog McCree, Who Shot Johnny Rock. But what I use them most for is playing Time Crisis and Point Blank on the PlayStation.
That's really
which,
cool.
yeah, on a big 55-inch flat screen. It's great that they work. Yeah, so that was huge for me. And then back in the racing stuff, I have the two that I've had the fondest memories for, and I still play, but don't get talked about a lot from serious racers, guys, is Porsche Challenge and Rallycross. Back in the day, I probably spent more time on them than any other racers, and I still fire them up now. Porsche Challenge is an interesting one, just for everybody has the same car, but
Yeah.
albeit in different colours. But it did some really interesting stuff with the tracks where they changed one lap to the next.
Yeah. With Porsche Challenge, what I really liked, I played it from a third person perspective, and I never play racing games other than Wipeout and Outrun from a third person perspective. Everything else I play first person or
That's really funny. It's the only game I play first. But...
whereas I go with Porsche Challenge, for some reason I can't get into it first person. I have to play it third, and I love it in third person.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
really
superb
weird.
game though.
It is great. It's from the
Yeah,
Soho studio, wasn't it, as well? It's
yeah. They and I mean, it was just a weird because I remember reading about the magazines and being excited about it coming. I don't know why. I'm not a car guy. I can't even drive, so it's not. I've never cared. And then that was weird because it was almost a Porsche developing this new car for the first time in however many years and stuff. There was all kinds of blurb about it I didn't really care about. But then it was just the Porsche Boxster, and for ages I wanted one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and now it's known as the hairdresser's car.
That's why I wanted one. No. And then yeah, and Rallycross, which came out around the same sort of time as V Rally, which was your gentleman rally game. And Rallycross, which was just comic bouncing around. Your car could flip upside down, and you had to rock it from side to side to turn it back over.
Yeah, I
And it
remember
had
that.
the mattress springs, the
Yeah.
sound effects of to get around the corners. It's just great fun, man.
Yeah, I played that the demo of that quite a lot. But I recently downloaded it onto PS5
Yeah,
through PlayStation Plus, and I was like, this is actually quite good.
I played it a lot with friend back when I was at school, and I remember we played all of that because I think there's like 3 tracks to begin with, or 3 areas, and you unlock them through the single
Yeah.
player, so you can play them in 2 player. And I remember doing that so that we could play all of it. Yeah, absolutely huge. And then the other one that came back to me when I was thinking about this that might not was not the obvious is a game called Overboard.
Oh, that's on my list. I
What a
didn't think
game that
anyone else
was!
would remember. That is so fucking good. So that's Psygnosis again.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's such a great pirate ship game. And it's got so much humor as well. It's
yeah,
brilliant.
it's really cool. I got it in like a 4 pack of games. I think it was like a charity thing. I think it came with Actua Soccer Club
Yeah,
Edition and the Independence Day game and Firehawk Thunderstorm.
that
Thunderhawk
is
2? Firestorm, yeah.
that is a
Superb.
terrible selection bar Overboard.
I really like the Thunderhawk 2. I think that's the right one, isn't it? Firestorm. I really like that. And I'm an apologist for the Independence Day game. I know it's bad, but I did
Someone
love it.
has to be, you know.
Yeah.
But
But
no,
it was weird because
Overboard,
it was like
I played
40
this so
quid for
much.
the 4 of them, brand new. It was really weird.
I got one like that with Broken Sword 2, and a couple of other games as well. I
Is it
think,
Mist and Road Rage,
yeah,
possibly?
yes, that was it. Yeah,
I think that one was like Princess Trust or something.
yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's just because I saw it and it was cheaper than buying Broken
Yeah.
Sword 2 alone. So I was like, well, I'll just buy this one with 3 games.
Yeah, no,
Or
it's a
four,
good shout.
whatever it was. Yeah, but yeah, Psygnosis did such a great job with that, and it felt so different. And but like it kind of mixed like real time, like with like the strategy of trying to get through the levels because
Yeah,
it was
they
to
had a
try and
little
get to
puzzle
the
thing.
gates. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, this is
Sounds
a
good.
deep cut, but it reminded me to play it like from the idea of some of it. Nomad on the Spectrum, where you're a little robot trying to go through similar sort of mazes,
oh
having to
yeah,
hit
I remember
switches
that.
to open gates.
Yeah,
Oh god,
Yeah.
yeah, Ocean. Mhm.
but yeah, that's a good comparison actually. But yeah, Overboard's fantastic. Have you got anything else, Chris? Sorry.
There's a couple I wrote down. I mean, Micro Machines V3. I mean, so much time playing that with 4 people, and
Mm.
it's one I still look for at events. It's a good one if you can get on with randomers, if there's someone that's got it set up before, or even just doing the pad sharing thing, because that's hilarious. If you crash and you throw the pad out of the hands of the person who was sharing with you. um, about Motorhead Down, which I think is a game I always wanted to like more. It just looked incredible, but I was so bad at it.
Yeah, it's actually not bad. I've got that. I've been playing that on my Vita quite recently, actually,
Uh,
and I've started to get into it quite a bit.
I
The
think
soundtrack's
I
actually
think
really
it's on
cool as
my
well.
Vita actually, just because it just looks so cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's
And
got a
then the
great
other thing
soundtrack.
that is, I just wrote this down as nostalgia vote, was how good the Red Alert was on there. We
Yeah,
spent a lot of time carrying PlayStations to each other's houses with a link cable for 1v1 at the time. That was like the thing at school. There's about 5 of us, I think, that were up to it. That was great. But the one guy that spent the money on a mouse tended to win.
yeah. I bought the PlayStation mouse for Red Alert and SimCity 2000.
And probably used it on Broken Sword.
Yeah, I
If you
think
could.
I
When you
did.
mentioned about games you liked but you were rubbish
Hmm.
at, I put
Hmm.
Vib Ribbon in there as well for mine. I loved it, but I was so shit at it.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but yeah, I thought that was so stylistically cool.
It was. It really was.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I've gone for. Have you got any more, Chris? Sorry.
I think that's it, really.
Cool. So I've gone for stuff that you guys mentioned, obviously. So I've also gone for Parappa the Rapper and Jamalami,
Yeah.
as I had never played anything like those games
I didn't
until I
play
played
on
them.
Jammer Lammy Bun, but I did play
It,
Parappa. I love that.
yeah, I think Njami's better.
Oh, okay.
Like the gameplay's a bit more interesting because she's like playing the guitar and you're in a band. So it makes the game a bit different to Parappa. But I think is just Nanocho getting it right with the next game. You know, they had the great ideas for the first one, and then the next one they're like, we are absolutely going to town with all the ideas from the first game. Parappa is in it as well, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
not. He's not the main character. But yeah, those two are they're still really good today. I played Mjama recently, and I can't get over how much I love this still. And the same with Parappa, but not the PSP version of Parappa. That is shit.
Quantified.
I feel like one came out for the PS4 or something, and then it had major issues with timing.
Yeah, they fixed that in an update.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think I tried it and then it didn't, so I never did it.
or maybe it was on the Pro. Maybe it's on the PS4 Pro in boost mode that it became more playable. That it was able to keep up with the speed and everything. Something like that. Anyway, because I have played it recently and I thought it was pretty decent, especially compared to the PSP one.
I
Which
might
is
be
just
worth another look actually, because I was excited about it, but then it was that thing of, I was, why is my muscle memory? Why am I so bad at this? And then reading online, I was like, oh, I was like, I'm not bad at this. This is, I mean, I might be bad at it anyway, but the timing was out for the buttons.
Yeah, if you've got it, try it on PS5 because the PS5 runs at the PS4 performance. So PS4 Pro performance. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, other games I've got. Then I've gone for Vagrant Story, which is one of my favorite JRPGs of all time. That's from the same people who did like Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy 12, and yeah, it's so you play this guy called Ash Locke, I think his name is, and you've got to then infiltrate this place as you're like a special soldier, but in medieval time, like special forces, but you're on your own, and it has like a really unique turn-based combat in that you can like choose which part of the body you're going to hit and that sort of stuff as well. You can craft weapons and things. It's really cool, and it's got a beautiful art style, fantastic score, and yeah, I love that one. It's Square's best game on PlayStation by far.
This is you talking directly to the listener, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
me and Jake doing our best to just like we know what you're talking about.
yeah. Silent Bomber is another game I've gone for.
I didn't play that, but I sort of vaguely remember seeing it around.
Oh, my mate Lewis loves it.
Yeah, it's from the people who ended up making Azura's Wrath on 360, but yeah, it's a really cool game. It's a really cool action game, but you're just like planting bombs, and it's kind of a shooter, but you have bombs more than anything. You've got to dodge, and it's really cool. I love it. It's absolutely brilliant. Obviously, I've got Wipeout 2097 and Wipeout 3.
Yeah, nice.
Rage Racers on there, as we spoke about earlier. G Police.
That was really good, but I've got a feeling I left that off because I think I only ever played the demo. I think I rinsed the demo, but I don't think I ever owned it.
Yeah, I played the hell out of G Police. It was like playing Blade Runner, like in that sort of futuristic setting like that. And I just was like, this is so good. I love this, and it was really hard to get my head around the Y and X axis in that game to begin with. Because I just wasn't used to that at that point, and doing it in the flights, and it's like flight sim style game. I was like, it took a while to get used to, but as soon as I got the hang of it, I just could not stop. It's such a shame that that's dead as well.
I can't think about that with thinking about Colony Wars as well.
Yeah, Colony Wars is next on mine. Again, it's very much like G Police, but it is fantastic. Another one that people probably didn't like, but I did, was Medieval.
I've got that on my I think I bought it on the PS3 when that came out, as when they first started selling the PS1 games for PS3. Yeah, it's a really good game.
I love it. I'm also a bit biased because I worked on the PSP remake, which the original creator hated, which always made me feel really sad. I was like, I really liked it. But yeah, Medieval, you play this knight who's been brought back to try and help out, even though he's a bit shit as a knight, and that's why he's dead. He got killed in a really embarrassing way. It's a fun British humour game, and one that sold really well in the UK, just not very well globally. It's really good. The PS4 remake is actually really solid.
I never actually picked that up, but I did play it at one of the Eurogamer events. I think before it came out, I remember that being a big thing.
Yeah, I think it's because the head of the PlayStation studios at the time, Sean Layden, worked on the original.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's why it got a remake. So I think that's the only reason why it did, because I was there thinking, why the hell would they remake? Because like no one bought the PSP one, and and the PS1 games they're only loved in the UK. But he was living in England at the time and was working on that. So, and plus it's Cambridge-based
Yeah,
studio as well. So that's another reason why I loved it. But I didn't know that at the time when I played it. Obviously, it was only later that I found out it was from Cambridge. And I have got the usual suspects like Symphony of the Night, Resident Evil 2, Final Fantasy 8. I've gone for 8, not 7, because
Okay.
I much prefer 8 story and characters. Not the main character Squall, he's a bit of a douche, but the rest of them are fantastic and much better than the characters of Final Fantasy 7.
We'll trust you.
That will get me cancelled by most people, I think, on the internet. But
You're in a traffic jam. How do you control your road rage? Listen to soothing music. Exercise your neck and shoulder muscles. Ignore any challenges. Take your road rage out later, at home.
Get out of the way! Get out of my way! Are you listening? Do I have your attention?
So with that then, so how would you what would your closing thoughts be, Chris, on PlayStation and its legacy?
Yeah, I mean the legacy is unquestionable. I mean, this is the sort of thing that we hinted on when we were talking beforehand. I've got a PS5. I love it. I do. It's not as many things I play on it as I do on other stuff, but I do still go back to things like the PS4 Wipeout, which is a masterpiece, but it just makes me sad. I don't think it's unlikely we're getting any more. And it's as much for every one of those series we talked about that's still going, the things that have been lost to time to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a PS1 thing, but the PS2 gave us Buzz and SingStar, which were every Saturday night for me for years. And they went into the PS3 and we were still playing them with wireless controllers and stuff, wireless mics, wireless buzzers.
Yeah.
PS4 sort of killed them off. I think Buzz had already gone
on PS4.
Yeah, and there was the SingStar thing that they just, I don't know whether they just lost how much they were going to make the money from reselling you the songs, because on the PS3 the big thing about it was you could put PS2 discs in.
Yeah, and then rip
you
the
could keep
discs.
that library. Well, yeah, just as long as you put them in, you play it off it was fine. And then
that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean I spent. I mean, funnily enough, I think I've got a PS3 with it still on, and I reckon I've got like 150 songs or something, which I no doubt I must have paid £1 or £2 for each.
Yeah,
it feels to me like there's madness that we can't do that now.
Yeah, I recently did a transfer to put a 1 terabyte SSD into my PS3, and it took like a week or so. But one of the longest periods what I had to do was phone Sony, because I did a backup and it didn't back up my SingStar data.
Yeah, there was something about that actually.
Yeah, so I had to call Sony and actually speak to them. I couldn't even do it via the online help. They said, "Oh, you actually need to phone to talk about SingStar." So I had to call them up and say, "Oh yeah, this is my serial number. Can I have access to my games again, please? I've just changed hard drives." And they were that took about 2 hours to get to to get through to who I needed to speak to. And then those I must have had probably about 105 or so songs, and they took about 7 hours to download. And they're tiny.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
It's crazy, but that's my thing. Is like it's like Ridge Racer, right? This is stuff that was synonymous with the brand. We've got the new machines. Where are my games?
I know this is what really hurts about the PS5 is that if you don't like Gran Turismo or God of War, you haven't really got much on it that's for you. I mean, Astrobot's fantastic and it's such a great PlayStation game, not just because it harks back to all the old stuff. It's just it is fundamentally something that you would be like, yeah, I would play this on a PlayStation. You know,
I
it's
try and
the game.
think with my PS5, it's like I've played the God of War and Spider-Man 2 and the Miles Morales. Love them. I'm a big Spider-Man fan. Amazing.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But otherwise, I think I played Alan Wake and Control on there. But I've got an Xbox Series X as well with Game Pass, and I end up playing most third-party stuff on there. It's weird. But then now I switch to and I just play Silk Song, so it doesn't matter.
Jake, what are your sort of closing thoughts and the legacy in your eyes?
The legacy, I think, you just mentioned Astrobot, and that there shows the legacy, the amount of characters, and when you unlock someone, you go, "Oh yeah, I remember that game," and it's a platform that's grown up with us, of a certain age.
Mhm.
Like I was going out, like friends from college and everything, so our evenings would come back and play PlayStation, and that would go on for years, and then the PlayStation 2 and 3, and so on and so on. So culturally, it's sort of nested and embedded itself in most of our consciousness quite easily. And
Yeah.
the other last point to leave you with is, as one of the heads of QA told me way back in the day, Psygnosis is actually an anagram of Sony's pigs.
Really? Oh my god.
Not many people know that.
I know.
No, that's really cool. Yeah, for me, I would say kind of like what you were saying, Jake. I think the reason I hold more affection for PlayStation than I do like N64 or Saturn
Mhm.
is because of where I was in life at that point. I
Mhm.
was 16 when it came out. You know, I was sort of finding myself,
Mhm.
and playing PlayStation sort of redefined the games that I liked. You know, it showed me new stuff that I hadn't played before, you know, like Parappa or Incredible Crisis or Vib Ribbon, Metal Gear Solid, you know,
Mhm.
these games, or Resident Evils, you know, none of this stuff existed for me in my gaming lexicon at that point. So for going, you know, that was where I was.
And it was
And I was
cool
sort of,
as well. It wasn't
yeah,
like
it was.
nerds in the back
Mhm.
room with your mum giving you hot milk in the evening or something. It was like,
Yeah.
this is cool stuff.
And this was the thing, like being at sixth form and being able to talk to people about games, you know, and not feeling like the leper at school, you know, who plays games, because everyone's like trying to be cool at school and didn't want to talk about video games. But then when it was like you're in sixth form, everyone's sort of like their normal selves, and they're not trying to play that cool thing, and you're then just able to talk to people about games. And yeah, that to me, it was just like such a cultural moment.
I
In
am slightly tarnished from the fact that my first job I worked when I left school was to work in a computer shop, as well as at college. So like on my days I wasn't in there, and at the weekend, and I spent a significant amount of time soldering mod chips into PlayStations.
Ah. Yeah, the modding of the PlayStation. I remember getting my one modded, but I didn't get it modded so that I could play pirate games. It was literally so I could play the stuff from
The
America and
legitimate
Japan.
backups that I got
Yeah.
myself off as
Mhm.
No, I would say
yeah,
I was
yeah.
just doing it so I could buy import games, because it was much easier to import on Saturn.
Yeah.
And I was used to doing that. So I was like, oh, I want to import on PlayStation. What's the easiest way to do it? I'll take it into my local game shop and get them to
Mhm.
install a mod chip, which was great. But yeah, like I say, for me, at that point in time, it was where I was. I was becoming, you know, a young adult at that point, and sort of growing up with PlayStation was, yeah, it goes hand in hand, and I think that's
Mhm.
why I have so much affection. Plus the fact that 95 to 2000 were like banging years for everything.
Mhm.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
I
Great time to
I
be alive.
loved. Yeah, I was like, this is the peak of humanity, just as the Matrix said in 1999. That 1999 was the end of the peak of humanity.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it was just like I said, it opened me up to so many new experiences. But I was also getting all these new experiences as like this late teen as well. You know, it's like girls
Mm.
and drinking, or you know, all this sort of stuff, or going out, you know, with
Mhm.
friends.
Yeah.
To like, yeah, it was just, yeah, and all of that is hand in hand with PlayStation for me. So I think that's where my affection comes from. But then we talk about the lasting legacy, and again, like, I agree with you, Chris, in that it does hurt with how much
Mhm.
PlayStation have killed as well as created. It just baffles my mind of all the IP they own, and it just sits.
I have this thing that, like, why I think I'm so affectionate for the Dreamcast is it felt like the last console that had a personality. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but like the PS2 to a certain extent, but the PlayStation, the Saturn, and those things that came for them, from these loadings from their home screen when it boot up sequences and all of that stuff, they felt like something, and then since then they've just become these boxes. Like,
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, I think I really liked like the Vita for having character.
yeah, no, I mean, I adored the Vita. I mean, I think perhaps I'm specifically on home consoles on that stuff
Yeah,
because the even the DS, I would say, does some of the stuff
I
that's
think
going
in
on with
terms
that.
of library, the DS definitely
Mhm.
has more personality as a system. It's very like you just turn it on, like the DS Lite, for example. You just turn it on,
Yeah,
you're in the game. But the DSi had a bit more to it, but it
yeah.
wasn't. But whereas
But
like
the Vita,
yeah,
I mean, the PSP was obviously was pretty cool for that stuff. But the Vita was what I like about the Vita though was that when they did ultimately drop the support, it would become an indie machine for me towards the end
yeah,
of its life, and the transition from that to the Switch was seamless. It was like I think it was Hollow Knight was the one was like the game that I feel like I should have been playing this on my Vita, but I just got a Switch and.
I have been playing it on my Vita.
Does it come out later, or is it as a
As a
mod or
fan
something?
port.
Ah, okay, yeah. I
Yeah,
sort of I'd heard something, but I didn't think it got a release. But
yeah.
it just playing that on the Switch felt like me the natural progression from the Vita. But again, it makes me sad because where's my new Sony?
Yeah, I mean that's the. Did either of you get a Pocket Station?
Yeah,
Oh, the weird VMU esque.
after the fact,
Yeah.
but not at the
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
You see, we got one at the time. Well, I say we. My brother did. He has no memory of owning one, even though he had it for a good couple of years. It's funny because my mum remembers nothing about our video game. She remembers that, and she's like, "Yeah, I remember you having that." To my brother, and he's like, "I don't remember." And everyone in our family is like, "You had it for about 2 years. We remember you having it, and you used to have it with you all the time." Like he took it everywhere with him, and he has no memory. He's like, "I didn't have one." We're like, "You absolutely did." Like you absolutely did have one,
I feel
and he
like
would have
something
been
traumatic happened with that, and he's blocked it
yeah,
out.
because he would have been 13, 14. So it's not like he would have been young enough to have like not have any memory of it.
Mm.
So it's absolutely crazy. But yeah, I think that's probably it then for PlayStation. So
And unfortunately, that feels like it, doesn't
it
it?
does, yeah.
That's it for PlayStation. Good luck,
That's it for
Sony.
PlayStation. But I mean, the thing is, the PlayStation still like the consoles still sell
Yeah,
incredibly
yeah.
well.
I mean, I've got
I
one.
just can't I just can't understand why. I mean, I do know why. It's because the people who were there in the PS4 era, who were in charge in the PS4 era, were all the people who were working at PlayStation during the PlayStation era. The
Yeah,
first one, and you could tell like the corporate people had all gone at that point, and it was like, right, we're going to let the people who were actually making the games run PlayStation now.
yeah.
And that's why PS4, I think, was, I would say, their last hurrah.
Hmm.
Because you look at like the PS4 library is incredible. Like it is
Yeah.
just an amazing amount of great games, and especially first party as well. Their first party output's incredible. And that's even going down to like things like from like Resogun and stuff like that,
Oh, yeah.
right up
Yeah.
to the big games like Spider-Man, Uncharted 4, The Last of Us Part 2.
I mean,
Um,
Housemarque was effectively what carried them through post the Psygnosis stuff.
yes,
It was like that
yeah,
became for me. That's what the console became for me. When you were mentioning about
yeah,
Ridge Racer earlier, is the what's the new Housemarque? I bought a PS3 so that I could play Super Stardust. Bought a
yeah,
PS4 for Resogun. Um, and
yeah.
and as much as I'm bad at it, Returnal is fantastic.
Returnal is the best game on PS5. Like it
Uh,
just is. It's so good, but it's really hard.
hmm.
But it's so playable. It's got that arcade feel of like
Yeah.
Nex Machina. But
Oh, Next Machina, what a game that is
yeah, it's so good.
too.
And yeah, I mean that's to me, it's like the PS4 for me was like their thing of
Hmm.
we're in charge, we're doing this, and then they put Suits back in charge again,
Yeah.
And yeah, I think once you start putting those people in charge, you lose something. You need to have those people, but those people have left the company now as well. Like, like Shuhei Yoshida and Sean Layden that we're talking about. And Andrew House was also a big part of the original PlayStation, and then he was in charge of the whole of Sony at that point. Yeah, so they've really lost all the gamers at the company, and it shows with their output.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell like how out of touch it was. Do you remember? I mean, I think they wheeled it back after, but they did like for one of their anniversaries, they released a set of themes, one for each of the previous consoles. So
yeah, and then
what was written, but it was temporary.
Yeah, it's there now again though.
Yeah, they did,
yeah.
didn't they? They rolled it back and made it happen. But it's like, what? Who thought that? It's like, oh, they're going to love this, so we'll do it and take it away.
Yeah, we'll give it to them for 3 months, and then we'll take it away. It's like when Nintendo did that Super Mario 35 on the Switch for the 35th anniversary.
Oh, with Sunshine and stuff on there.
No, they did a download which was like Tetris 99, but you're playing Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, I see. Right, yeah.
And it's 35 players rather than 99, and yeah, it was really good fun. I was really good at it. I won those matches. And yeah, they took it away after 6 months.
I mean, that's probably why they took it away.
Because of me, they were like.
I mean, to be fair though, I mean, I never played that one, but I'm still livid about them taking away the Pac-Man one.
Yeah, I'm glad I bought the DLC for that, so I can still play it. Against bots.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I still play Tetris 99, but it's mad that that's
yeah.
the only one. And it's like, what possible reason is there for taking the Pac-Man one off? I think there was like, they said that there was some excuse about the audience, and I'm just like, we're worried people will play this and not buy our other games, I suppose.
Probably, because they were doing a big Pac-Man museum release not long after they pulled the plug.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it was that. But yeah, I guess we'll call it there. Thank you very much for joining me, Mr. And Mr. Smith.
No, welcome. Thanks for having us.
That's fine.
Having us on.
No, cheers, Jake and Chris. No, it's really good, and it's really good to speak to you both again, because I not spoken to Chris for a long time, and
I like to remind people every so often that we are two different people. It is useful, and it's not like we're really good. Like Roselle beatboxing, beats at the chorus at the same time. No, we're not doing that. We are two people,
and we do sound vastly different as well.
Yeah.
That helps. Yeah,
that does help.
Thanks for having us on. Been
or one person that can do voices. Yeah, no, I've enjoyed it, guys.
Have you got anything you want to plug, you two?
I mean, I might bring Maximum Power Up back, so if I do that, then
then we get to do this all again.
Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, I've always got my blog at liberalJune.com, but it's literally games I play 1 month to the next.
I do read that every month when you post it. Yeah.
I appreciate it, because about every 2 years I think of something and that I put out 1,500 words on. But other than that, it's just what I've played.
I'm Jake74 on Blue Sky if you want to see me moan about stuff.
I mean, that's the best thing for me about Blue Sky was I've got liberaljune.com as my Blue Sky. That's helpful.
I got Chris Smith as my Blue Sky.
Nice. Yeah.
But Jake, do you want to just shout about Luminous Arise and tell everyone to pre-order it?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be invited to build the website for Luminous Arise, and it's an incredible game. I got to play the beta whilst developing the site.
Nice.
And obviously it is like digital ecstasy. It's tremendous. I cannot recommend you queue up and pre-order it right away.
I believe there's a demo.
It's now no longer around.
Oh, there was a demo.
Yeah, it was a limit.
I have the finger on the
pulse. Got a good chance
pulse.
to play it, and yeah, it's incredible. Everyone's reaction to it has been phenomenal.
Yeah, I played it probably about 8 times through,
nice.
like in a row, like without turning it off. I was like going through again. It's so good.
It's not been a series that I took to. I never really got into it on the PSP when I tried, but I'm such a Tetris Effect guy that I'm going to have to give this one a go.
Yeah, it's got that vibe.
It does have the Tetris Effect vibe, but it's it's still at its core. It's Lumines, and it's for me. I loved Lumines from the beginning, but my favorite was Electronic Symphony on the Vita. Absolutely adored that one. But I think Arise is better from the little I played.
Yeah,
nice.
So yeah, that was my shout. I've enjoyed working with the team at Enhance to make that. Very lucky to get the opportunity to do so.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, guys, and thank you very much for listening, everyone. Join us next time where we find out, did everybody really want to rule the world?